Okay, I'm back. I'm mostly, well, it might be another day for you. I don't know. It's just a few minutes later for me. Hope you're having a good one. I have mine pretty much cut out. I wanted to talk to you about something that artists know about that sometimes they forget to mention when they teach, and that's a rough cut. When you have a sturdy material like this, it can be pretty difficult to cut, especially if you had this big, awkward material. So, what I suggest is doing a rough cut. Now, you're going to throw the rest of this material away. So you can rip it a little bit if you have to. You can do whatever you need, but cutting off that extra material will make cutting this accurately 10 times easier. And this is a sturdy material, but scissors are still the best choice for it. So make sure your scissors aren't sticky, and you can tell by opening and closing them. And then take your time cutting this out so you still have really nice straight lines. Don't worry about curving the edges like the template. You actually want square edges. So if you just turn the corner and don't try to make that curve, it'll be just right. So I've got that cut out. Got my bottom. I've got my top. I've just got to cut these apart. Bam. And bam. Don't forget that rough cut when you do your cutting. It'll make a world of difference on how accurate your cutting is and how easy it is. So I've got my pieces here. I will need to cut this rectangle out of the top. I'm going to use an X-Acto knife for that and a ruler. That's so that my wire can come through. Now, when you're using an X-Acto knife, you want to be on a self-healing cutting mat. Do not cut on the tabletop. Always have a self-healing cutting mat if you are using any kind of straight edge knife that you're pushing into the surface. I have a ton. There's one for you. The other thing is I'm going to stand up and I'm going to put my nose over the center of what I am making so that my my strength goes into the knife. If I'm sitting, I'm not going to be as strong and I'll be cutting forever. Now I've got my ruler here so that I can drag my knife along my ruler. So I'm going to just go ahead and go on the line just 2 or 3 times. And you'll feel the rubber of the mat when you've gotten through it. This is a tough material, but if you stand up to cut, it makes all the difference. So I'm not feeling that mat yet. Almost. Oh, I felt the rubber. Okay, now I'm going to cut the sides. If you don't cut against the ruler here, your knife might slip and then you'll end up cutting something you don't want to, which isn't the end of the world, but I always use the edge of a ruler if I am going to try to cut an actual straight line. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do it again. And I'm feeling that rubber, the mat underneath of there. And then, bam, that pops out. Now, if I tried to do this sitting down, it would have taken me twice as long and it would have been way messier of a cut. Standing up is the trick for using this kind of cutting material or cutting tool. So I'm going to put this away and I'm going to set this to the side because that is ready. Now, I have to bring my sides, attach them to my rectangle here, okay? And I'm going to do that using masking tape. And I'm going to show you a trick or a few tricks. So when you use masking tape, you can waste a ton of time picking the masking tape and getting a little bit of tape and then picking it off and then getting a little bit of tape. Go ahead and pull some out, pull out a length, press your nail into it and then pull at an angle. It'll rip. And then stick, you can't see it, but I'm sticking my tape to the edge of my desk. And then it just dangles down and you can tear off bits of it at a time. So this is the side that's going to face up. I'm going to turn it down so my the side that I wrote on is facing down, and I'm going to place my tape on the bottom. You'll see the method to my madness in a minute, and you will go, you know what, that sculpture teacher of mine, she just might be a genius. I'm going to get a third one, and I'm going to place it over here next to the edge. Now, I grabbed a long side, so I'm going to flip it over, and all my sticky side is up. You can continue working on your cutting mat, or you can put it away. You won't need it anymore. And then I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to go ahead and just put my pin mark side in, just so that my outside is nice and clean with no pin marks. And then I am going to line up my edges. See how they're nice and lined up? And then I'm going to wrap my tape around. I'm going to kind of pull hard so I don't have a lot of extra room. Straighten it up again. Wrap it around. Secure that tape. And again. So now I've created like a bit of a hinge so that it will stand up when I'm ready. So now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to flip it over again. I'm going to get 3 pieces of tape. 1, 2. They just need to be long enough to, go on both sides. 3. And then I'm going to get this one. If you wrote on it, I'd put the writing side in just to keep things clean, looking nice. And I'm going to line up my edges and then pull my tape tightly around. You don't want it loose, you want it tight. You notice I didn't get that perfectly in the middle, and it doesn't matter. As long as I've got it nice and secure and tight. There, so I've got my 2 long sides like that, and now I'm going to do my 2 short sides. So I'm going to flip it over again. Oh, I ran out of tape. I'm going to go ahead and just do 2 pieces on this side. I'll get more tape. Flip it over. I'm going to fit it like this. And if you have a side that's more even and a side that's less even, first of all, slow down and do a better job cutting. Second of all, put your less even side down if you can. I'm trying to keep my words on the inside, so I got my wobbly side up top, and it'll be okay. So I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to get my edges flush, and I'm going to wrap my tape around. Get that secure. Wish I'd pulled just a little more tape so I'm not having to do this again, but that's okay. I guess I should have even got more than that. Oh well. And then I'm going to do it one more time. That's probably longer than I need. I'm not going to be the tape police. You use as much as you want. Everything will be fine. So here we're going to do it again. I'm going to line up my edges like that. I'm going to tightly pull my tape around. Now if my edge, if it slips when I wrap it, then fix it, okay? You want it nice and tight and nice and even because we're making a box, and boxes aren't very forgiving. You haven't noticed. They're like angry girlfriends, not going to forgive you. It's not happening. Okay, so now we have all of the sides for our box, and we just have to tape our sides together, which is why I wished that I'd pulled more tape off. So be generous when you give yourself a strip of tape. Maybe even pull off 2 so you don't have to keep doing what I'm doing. All right. Oh, my end curled up a little bit. I'm going to tear that off. Set that to the side. And so now you just need 1 strip of tape per side. So you're going to, and I'm working in an awkward way so that you can see what's happening. I'm going to match up my corners. And I'm going to, well, my tape's a little long. I got a little ambitious on my tape length. And I'm going to put half of it here on one side. Doesn't matter which one you pick. And then line them up like this. And wrap the tape around, pulling tightly so you have a nice square corner. See that? I'm going to get another piece of tape, not too long. You want it less than 2.5 inches so that it fits on that side. And I'm going to bring my corners together. and place it on one side. Then I'm going to wrap. Place it and wrap as tightly as I can. You know, if you don't love your tape job, peel it off and try again. All right, 2 more sides. Fastest box you've ever made. I'm gonna place my tape on one half, get my edges nice and even, butt it up against each other, not overlapping. And then I'm gonna pull my tape around, rub it down, get it nice and even. Oh, one more corner. Place it on one side. Get everything nice and lined up. Wrap your tape around. And there you, my friend, you have a box. And you have a lid. All right, the last thing that you're gonna do on this is get a length of wire and you're going to coil it around your hand like this. A few rounds. And you want the bottom one to be a little bit bigger so that it's touching the base of the box as much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you're going to take the glue gun and you're going to run glue on the bottom and stick it down so that it's coming up out of the middle. You see how my wire is coming up out of the middle? Now the wire may be longer than you need it to be later, but that's okay. All right. Now after you have, oh gosh, hold the phone, friends. You want to get this ready. Have it ready, know where you're going to put it, but don't glue it in yet because you need to first make this airtight by running glue around all of the edges inside. So you'll run a hot glue gun here around all of the edges because we're going to put concrete in this to weigh it down and to keep our wire still. So you'll see inside of this box, you see all that hot glue? I have hot glued all of my edges. And I looked at it all the way around to make sure that it's nice and solid and there's no holes so that my concrete doesn't fall out when I put it in, okay? So after you have yours constructed, then you're going to, like I just said, run the hot glue gun around all the seams. And it's okay to go over it a few times. You want it to be airtight. You don't want concrete to fall out of the bottom. And then you're going to glue your wire stand in just like that, and you're all done with your base. It'll be just like that, and we'll worry about the lid later. Just keep it together. Now, one thing you do need to do is you do need to put your name on the inside top of your base, and you need to put your name on the bottom of your base. And I would put it on with pen, okay? No one else can say this is their base if you write your name and your hour on it with Sharpie, okay? Make sure that you claim your work. All right, that's it for this video. See you next time.